Good morning, guys. This is day 27 of Flippin Live. It is May 29th, 2020. Today I want to talk about diversifying beyond books, reselling online beyond books, and tell you a little bit about how I went about that process and some of the pros and cons of that. And we can definitely open it up to discussion. So let's get started.
Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, we're flippin' live.
Good morning, everybody. It is day 27 of Flippin' Live. I appreciate everybody that shows up here. We have a few people here live with us this morning on Friday morning, end of the week. I just saw something on Facebook on my phone that one of the thrift stores that I follow, because you get a discount if you follow them, that type of thing, when I go in there to buy stuff, is reopening shortly. I believe they're reopening. I can't remember exactly when, but they're reopening very soon. I think I think they're opening tomorrow. Reopening tomorrow. And they had like 99 responses. People were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're reopening. That's so awesome. I look forward to it. This, that, and the other." So I think I might have my first sale in 3 months. Thinking about doing it next weekend. So thinking about it, we'll see. But that was good news. That means that maybe some of thrift stores in this area will start opening as well. So we'll see if that's going to be a trend amongst the local thrift stores. Anyway, that was a side note. Today's topic is, should you diversify beyond books? This whole week we've been talking about reselling books online specifically, or mostly talking about Amazon. And today I wanted to dive into the idea of diversifying beyond books. Of course, sticking to media, there's a million things you can resell online, but I got started in books, and that's my main focus and what I like to resell, in addition now to other media. And so I want to talk about the different pros and cons that I come to my mind when you ask this question, and whether or not you should diversify or not. So for me personally, just briefly, a sketch of my past reselling history is I started as books only on FBA, selling on Amazon FBA, the Fulfilled by Amazon program. Back in 2014, I was introduced to it. Actually, I was introduced to FBA just randomly. I can't remember if it was like a blog post or something that I found through a woman who actually did retail arbitrage. So she resold just whatever she could find that was on sale in the local store, like in a Walgreens or in a Target, and then she would send those in and resell them. And so that's what she was teaching, and I tried that out, and I was not a fan of that because I just didn't really care about that stuff that I was looking for. And then in that process of learning more about reselling, I stumbled across some videos on YouTube of a reseller selling books, and that's how that was like a huge light bulb moment. I said, "Wow, this guy is actually making money reselling used books, and appears to be making full-time income, at least full-time for him." And so I looked into that and started going to thrift stores, and that's how I started with reselling books. And it turned out that there was a lot of money, especially starting with very little, a couple $100 to just buy some books and send them in. There is money actually in used books. So from there, me personally, after a while of doing just books, I started to stumble upon, I guess you could say, the other types of media, and got into other types, like CDs. I went big into CDs. I was at one point doing a lot of records. I also did a lot of VHS tapes. And then that led to other items that I started to acquire through buying bulk, which is why I started doing merchant fulfilled before, and then started to go into eBay. 3 years ago, doing DVDs and all other types of stuff on eBay and lots and whatnot. So, should you personally, you as the viewer, diversify beyond books? So, there's pros and cons to this. As you know from my history, I clearly diversified. But some of the pros first of diversifying. So, number one would be more to sell. So, basically, the idea is that when you go to a thrift store, or when you go to an estate sale, or when you go to a garage or yard sale, and then, of course, a library book sale, even though they have lots of books or mostly books. If you are diversifying, if you are selling beyond books, then it is likely that you will you will be able to sell more than just books. That there will be other things, which leads into number two. Rarely walk away empty-handed. These kind of go hand in hand here. So more to sell. So therefore, then that leads to going to whatever source you are going to, and finding more books or finding more items. So as an example, I think of one of the first thrift stores that I went to. There used to be a thrift store around the corner from where I live when I started this back in 2014, and it just so happens that when I started, when I started reselling back then, this thrift store was actually closing down. Unfortunately, it would have been great if they would have stayed in business. It was a big space, so clearly it was not working for them. But anyway, they had a lot of stuff and they had a lot of books, and I didn't know. It was overwhelming looking at the books. I didn't really know, what I was doing, what books to look for. It was all new to me. I was a big reader, but I am not a reseller of books, so I didn't know. But anyway, I'm sure they had other types of media, but I didn't pay attention to any of that. Although I do remember seeing records, I just didn't know anything about them. Um, and so, I was new, so I was just learning about books, which is fine. But because I didn't know about other items, which why would I know initially? I wouldn't. It takes time. But over time, going to a place like that, especially when one is closing down and the prices, everything's like 50% off, 70% off, whatever it was. You can find more things to resell than just books. So it enables you to rarely walk away from a source empty-handed, or even just with a few books, versus walking away with some records, or maybe some DVDs, maybe some CDs, etc. And so you can ensure that you are able to find more items to actually resell. And also, it gives you a larger knowledge base, which plays into the first two. The larger knowledge base you have, the more that you can resell. So when I walk into a thrift store today in 2000, well, when I did walk into thrift stores in 2020, they're starting to reopen now, apparently. During these quarantine times, I'm able to dive into the books, and I know plenty about books so that I can go through all the books, especially if there's a lot, or even a little, whatever it may be, and I can scan those, look those up on Amazon, eBay, and I can come away with a good amount. And then I can turn around and go to the CD section, go through all those, usually find some, go to the VHS tapes. I might find zero in the VHS tapes because there's not very many to resell, but maybe I'll walk away with one or two, maybe none. And then if I'm really feeling frisky and I have lots of energy and I have some time, I can dive into the records. That's a little more time consuming because you can't just scan. So it takes typing things in if you want to take photos, but I just prefer to type them in. Anyway, so there's that. And then there's DVDs as well. I don't usually look through DVDs to resell in a thrift store because I only resell on eBay. But you can do that as well, because if I took the time to do it, I would probably find some in there. But your larger knowledge base enables you to find more items. And therefore leads into potentially making more money because instead of walking out with just your 20 books or 10 books, you can walk out with one or two VHS tapes. I usually, with CDs, I almost always find a good amount, often just as many as books as I find, if not more, because a lot of resellers a lot of media resellers just focus on books and don't either are not able to sell them on Amazon and don't bother selling on eBay. So they don't look at CDs. So I find that CDs are usually untouched by resellers by and large at a thrift store, for instance. Um, and also at like an estate sale, garage sale. So anyway, so usually, I can walk away with more CDs, and then I usually just stick to books and CDs, and then look at the VHS tapes. The records, I have done that before, but they can be really time consuming, and there can be some good money in there, and there's a lot to learn. But I can flip through them and kind of have an idea though about which ones are even worth looking up. So that's good. But if I spend the time on that, I'm probably going to find some records as well. So you can potentially make more money. Now, well, that's a con, I guess. But anyway, what I can just say about that too is the potential con is that while you're spending more time in that thrift store looking at other types of items, you're taking away time from you going as a book reseller to another location to find more books. But it depends on how you look at it, right? Because you're still looking for items to resell. So anyway, potentially you can make more money because you can walk out of a source, a thrift store, a garage sale, estate sale with more different types of items. I mean, I can remember when I first started in that first year and a half before I really got into like CDs and other stuff, that I would just do books, and I'd walk out of an estate sale, for instance, with a good amount of books, but didn't look at the other stuff. And that's because I didn't know, and you have to learn, and there definitely is a learning curve. Now, this one is very subjective, more enjoyable. What I mean by that is, unless you are a fanatic about books and you absolutely love books, and that's all you want to resell, which is completely fine, plenty of people that do that, you might get sort of bored or feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over. Where if you diversify a little bit or a lot, it could be more enjoyable because you find a lot of different types of items that will be more, I don't want to say entertaining, but more enjoyable to look through, to learn about, to resell. You can have plenty of fun and enjoyment. Babe, kiddo. You can have plenty of enjoyment just doing books, for sure. I had lots of fun just doing books, but it can be more enjoyable. I enjoy it coming across random CDs or random VHS tapes or records and that type of stuff. So it potentially can be more enjoyable as well. So those are some of the pros of diversifying. Some of the cons or things to consider would be, hold on a second, put this down here, filling up the screen. Not focusing, the shiny object syndrome, which I have had. I got into other things like electronics, because I got excited about the potential of selling them for more money. So I would spend more time sometimes when I would go into a thrift store, although usually it was at a thrift store where, like a Goodwill. Geez, sorry guys. Where usually it was like a Goodwill where they didn't have, the books weren't so great. I'm going to get rid of these because you can't even see. But you can not focus on the things that you really know, and then get kind of caught up in looking at items that you are still learning about, and then kind of avoiding other stuff. Not avoiding it, but not paying as close attention as you might if you were just focusing on books or whatever items you are, whatever type of media that you are actually reselling or best at. So consider that missing out on books. That's following the same vein, the same thought there, is that you can miss out on books because you're looking at other stuff or spending more time on other things. But that's why you just should be thorough, right? If you go to the books first, because you know them the best, if you started with books like me, that's what I usually do. And also because they're inexpensive, they're really easy to deal with. Books are simple. They're just books. There's nothing fancy. You don't have to worry about scratches. You don't have to worry about replacing the case like a CD. You don't have to test it like a VHS tape. It's just a book. You look at the spine. Is it intact? Is it solid? Are there are any pages falling out? Is there tears or rips? Just really once quick look at it. It's easy. That's why people do books, right? Because they're really simple. They're inexpensive. They're everywhere. They're simple to deal with. They're heavier, but so what? They're cheaper, and they can bring a lot of profit. So anyway, so you might miss out on some books if you're not focusing. Uh, there's a learning curve for sure. This one is uh, also can be also can be avoided, but you wow, thank you, Keith. I really appreciate it. Uh, oh, Kevin is here. I will check the chat really quick, guys. Uh, yeah, but you're bringing up some good points. I will talk about where to diversify in just a second. Um, and how I diversified. So learning curves can be a little bit steep, and then which can mean that you're going to spend a lot of time learning that stuff while you are also trying to look for books and that type of thing. So yeah, so learning curve can be steep, but that's okay. You can see, as you can tell, I'm more of a fan of diversifying, but I just wanted to throw these up there as potential barriers and things to consider. But for me, the learning curve is fine because you can do it at the same time. You can go to a source and look at all the books and find all the books for yourself, have them in your cart or whatever, and then go to the next section, go to CDs, and then if you're still new and learning, you can scan them, you can learn, you can continue to add to your knowledge base, and then go on to whatever other media. It doesn't really affect your ability to find books, let's say, or whatever you're best at or have the biggest knowledge base. But still, there is a learning curve, which could get in the way of you making money off of other items. This one also, so what I mean is disrupting the book process or flow. Once you've obtained your books and then other stuff, usually you have, if you're reselling online for Amazon, there's a process you have, right? You bring them home, you scan them in, put FBA stickers on them. If you're doing merchant fulfilled, then not so much, but whatever your process is, and then stick them in a box and mail them. But if you have other items, so CDs, you might have to replace the case, check the disc. You have to work out that process to fit it into your book listing process as well. That's what I mean, is that it can just get in the way. And again, there's a learning curve, so you can learn all this stuff and find out the best process for yourself for that. But anyway, those are some of the cons. I know the chat is active, so I want to get to that. So what I mean is by diversifying beyond when to diversify, I'd say it's always a good time to diversify, especially, whenever. It doesn't matter if you just started or if you've been doing it for a while. So, yeah, I think it's always a good time to diversify. I used to just sell books, but figured, like you said, more to sell, more to buy. Now I sell almost everything. I try to research one new subject each month. That's awesome. That's a lot. So I started with books and then got into CDs, really heavy into CDs to the point to where I was getting away from books. And then I started to realize, oh, I shouldn't just abandon books. But it's because I had access to a lot of CDs from a source where could pick them up by the hundreds and hundreds and sometimes thousands, pre-boxed up, not in a Gaylord, but pre-boxed up from another bulk bookseller. And so I was really focusing big time on that. That's like the shiny object syndrome, where it's totally fine if I was doing well. I was selling lots of CDs on Amazon before I was doing eBay. And then that's how I started getting into merchant fulfilled as well, to make sure that I wasn't missing out on some that didn't make sense FBA and made more sense merchant fulfilled. So that's what I did. CDs really big. And then, like I said, I also got into records, sold like several hundreds anyway in 2016, 2017. And then I kind of got away from records just because they were really time consuming. Now I understand that the time put into them can be worth it, but for me, between when you're out there or wherever, whether you're buying them in bulk, yeah, I even find that now, or you're out at a source, thrift store, or a sale of some sort, book sale, anywhere, they're time consuming. You've gotta look them up, see if they're worth reselling. They don't usually have barcodes. It's a lot to learn. There's all different components of it. There's the sleeve, the cover, the sleeve, the inner sleeve, the condition of the record, and all that stuff. So you can do really well, but it is time consuming. Just consider that. I also got into VHS tapes, which is a lot easier because most of them have barcodes. And I sold hundreds, sold over like, I don't know, 300, 400 VHS tapes through Amazon FBA years ago. And I just listed a bunch on eBay yesterday, and I sold one. Whoopsie doopsie. I just sold one overnight. This horror one, Stepfather 3. These aren't high-priced VHSs, but I picked them up for free. A thrift store was just giving them away, so I went and picked them up, and I found some you can resell. So VHS tapes, and then DVDs, but that's on eBay. But still, I've sold a lot of DVDs on eBay as well, so that's what I got into as well. James is here. Good morning. Key shoes. Okay, yeah, you got into all different types of stuff. I like to stick to media. Kevin said, I like books and video games. Yes, video games is another thing that I have gotten into because they're similar in size, shape, and I can use the same systems to ship them, whereas selling kitchenware requires, yeah. Thank you, Keith. I really appreciate it for the super chat. That is awesome. I appreciate it very, very much. Yeah, I still love to resell books, even though I've gotten into other items. So now what I've been doing, because I have a warehouse, a small warehouse space, where I do a local monthly sale. I haven't done one since March, but I think I'm going to do one in June. Feeling pretty confident about doing one in June because I need to start selling stuff. I've got too much in there. Not only need to make some money, but stuff needs to go. People need to buy stuff. So, yeah, now that I'm doing that, I started a Facebook video ad for book donations, and I've been getting lots of book donations. I'm going to be buying a lot of books in the near future, which is good, but I'm getting heavy back into books. So it's been fun going through them, and I really missed going through books. I'm realizing that now as I am getting all these book donations. Brian says, selling shoes has always interested me, but I would only sell used ones to save money. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You have to weigh also, so you have to weigh what do you enjoy doing with what do you make money? Where can you make the most money? So, for instance, I think of this one person on some of the Facebook groups, book reselling groups, who I have heard mention multiple times that a full-time bookseller, and he started with just FBA. And then a few years ago, because of the fees going up on Amazon and a lot of people switching to merchant fulfilled, or even just going to eBay entirely, he opened an eBay store and started and listed hundreds of books that make more sense for eBay, that are more collectible, more niche, more vintage, that type of stuff, antique or vintage. And he's now selling a lot of books on eBay that rival his Amazon store. So, and he's a person that mentions that he doesn't even like love books. He's not a big book reader apparently, but for whatever reason, I don't know how, he found out about books and found out they make a lot of money. And that's weird to me, to do it and not even like books, or not even be a reader or even just like them, I guess. But that can work too. So to each their own, right? I've always been a big reader. I love books. So that's why, one of the reasons why I was amazed that when I found out years ago that I could actually resell books for a nice profit, that I jumped into it. And I also love music, love movies. So it made sense for me to get into records, CDs, VHS tapes, as well as DVDs, even audio cassette tapes. I've sold some of those as well. JD, I love music and I've collected for decades, so most knowledgeable and interested there, but enjoy all media types. Yeah, for sure. I like to stick to media. I've gotten out of media only to go into electronics, specifically VCRs, DVD players, that type of stuff, but it's still related to movies anyway, or music. That's kind of the furthest I've strayed, I guess you could say. Oh, absolutely, Keith. I really appreciate you tuning in. When you diversify into another category, how long do you give it before you know it's for you or not? That's a good question. So I would say give yourself at least like 3 months. I mean, this is not a hard rule, but I would say give yourself some time of, let's say during normal times when you're out there sourcing consistently on a weekly basis, maybe even every day, every few days. Let's say you're doing just books and you want to go into CDs. Let's say you can sell them on Amazon. Let's say you got Ungated. Um, I would say give yourself some time, right? So first of all, you have to learn about what actually are CDs that sell for good money. On Amazon specifically, you probably shouldn't be scanning Celine Dion. You probably shouldn't be scanning Kenny G, Michael Bolton, Andrew Lloyd Webber, what's his name, John Tesh. These are ones that just come to my mind. By and large, almost every one of their CDs is not worth money individually, or you can't make a profit on it on Amazon. So you learn, right? You don't need to scan those. Good thing about CDs is they're tiny. Most of them have barcodes. A lot do not, but the majority do. And so then you learn to, as you go through hundreds and thousands of them, which will take several months at least, you learn which ones that don't have barcodes are more likely worth looking up. Initially, I would probably look up all of them, but yeah, I would give yourself at least 3 or 4 months, at least 3 months, assuming 3 months of consistent sourcing. So if you feel that you're learning enough and then you're finding enough items, if you're not finding enough CDs, let's say as in this example, after 3 months, if you've only found a few, and it's proving too difficult for you, you're not enjoying it, then maybe just drop it. And once in a while do it. But I would give yourself a few months, at least 3 or 4 months, because you really have to see, for Amazon specifically, I mean, it could be for eBay too, but you not only have to get good at finding ones that are good for resale, then you have to send them in and see which ones actually do end up selling. So you need to give yourself some time with that. Yeah, Terry, I get it. Health issues, total lack of energy. Even for books, I don't do what I really need. Yeah, I mean, everyone has their different life situations, but and like I said, there's no point in diversifying beyond books if it doesn't make sense for you. There's plenty of people. I can think of several just in the Facebook groups. These are people I've never met, but you read from them a lot in the Facebook groups that they just stick to books and they do very well. So that was the other thing I wanted to talk about, is in the same vein of why not to diversify, is because you can go deeper into one category and become even more knowledgeable, which then makes you even better and makes you a faster sourcer and a more effective sourcer. So that's kind of getting away from one thing, means you're learning more about a new item, but you're not learning as much, or in growing your knowledge base about books, let's say, which is a valid argument, right? I understand. The more you diversify, the less deeper you go into one category. You can always go back to books. Like I'm going back to books, and now I'm learning, probably going to learn more about them, especially lots on eBay, which I've never really done book lots on eBay, but I'm going to learn about that. I'm going to try that out as well, as I get a lot of books that, I don't have room for, so I can't sell online individually. And I might put out for my sale locally, but unless I get a lot of book buyers, I still might not sell some of those. So a lot of them I'm just going to have to put in lots on eBay. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get rid of them. So I need to learn about that. But it's true, you can get away from books, let's say, versus if you just stick to books no matter what, and you say, oh, I like books, or I know more about them. I don't want to spend my time learning about something else when I can just focus on that. I mean, it's a valid argument for sure. Buying in bulk is a mental challenge for me. I have yet to give it a try. I understand where to start with that. Kevin, buying a book is a mental challenge for me. I have yet to give it a try and don't understand where to start with that. Well, you can buy, so there's two major routes, right? Either you can buy Gaylords of books, which are those giant 4x4x4 foot boxes, Gaylord boxes. Gaylord was actually a company, or is a company. They're just giant boxes, huge boxes. And they come on pallets, and usually there's anywhere between 800 to 1,000 books, depending on the books. If they're all kids' books, there's more. If they're typical book, paperback hardcover books, it's like 800 to 1,000. If they're all hardcover books, there's probably less, but there's usually a mixture. You can find those in bulk. I have a source. I've come across several sources for that. You can go directly to recyclers, thrift stores. Sometimes thrift stores will do auctions, public auctions, and you can buy them, or you can get them through a middle person who is in between you and those big sources. But anyway, that's one route. Another route is just to buy them locally in bulk. So try to solicit donations or look on all the local apps, whether it's Craigslist or whether it's Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or Let Go or Nextdoor, etc. You can also go to garage sales, go to estate sales, and just buy all their books at once. Say, how much for all 400 books? And they'll probably give you a really good deal. You should get a great deal because you're just buying. You glanced at them, but you haven't gone through them. But anyway, those are different ways. And yes, for me too, it is a mental challenge because when I would buy, mental and physical challenge when I would buy bulk books in Gaylords. I don't like to do. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get away from Gaylords now because I'm soliciting donations, and I've gotten like 10 different people that have donated some books to me because of the ad I'm running in the last 3 weeks, and I'm going to be making a big bulk buy of pre-boxed up books from a closing bookstore. 2,000 plus books for a very low price. So that will be bulk books, but they won't be in Gaylords. But yes, it will be. It's a challenge just because there's so many and it takes time to go through them. But you can get them for super cheap. I'm essentially going to be getting them for like 10 cents a book. And I feel confident. This is a blind buy, which is why I'm not willing to pay that much. But it's also a win-win. She wants to get rid of them. She just wants them out of her life so she can close. It's in a storage unit, so she can close the storage unit. The money is just nominal. I mean, she's not trying to make a bunch of money. It's like, okay, I'm not going to give them away, but give me a couple $100 and I'll be happy, and they're out of my hair. And I get a lot of books, and I'm sure I will find lots to sell online so that I can just ship them off to Amazon. And then I'll probably find some for Merchant Fulfilled and probably find some for eBay and then locally, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, this is a long-winded response. Books on eBay, yes. What a pain to list. Good or collectible, though? Yes. So I would say if you have a book template, so if you have a template on eBay, then it's not too bad. You basically just have to change the information up. But what I do is I just have templates. And so the title is clearly going to be different. This is going to be different information. The condition note, it depends. If it's like a ratty book, if it's an older book, if there's really something wrong with it that you need to mention or change in the condition notes. Otherwise, it's a set condition note, unless it's something really specific, right? The photos are different. That's fine. And then the actual listing, body listing, I just have to plug in any changes to the condition notes and the title of the book. And that's about it. And then the price, right? So it doesn't take too long. You'd be surprised. If you have the template, you can get through books pretty quick. And I do it in a batch. So if I have 20 books to photograph, I photograph all the books at once, so together, and then I bring all those to my computer, and then I just go through them and list them, but I already have the template. So there's a way to make it go a little bit faster, but definitely it's not as fast as Amazon. Scan it in, have your preloaded condition notes. It's much faster, right? Of course. But there's a lot of money to be made on eBay with books. James says, any comments? Yes, on how to ship CDs. Oh, individually, bubble mailer only or CD specific cardboard box. So I just use a bubble mailer if you're talking about individually merchant fulfilled or eBay. So I just have a small, it's actually a 9. I've had different sizes, but right now I have a 9 by 7 inch. So it's a little bit longer, envelope. I don't have one right here. They're in the garage, but manila envelope, padded bubble mailer. So that one I just stick in, pretty simple, and just mail it out. I don't do any boxes. The only ones I have cardboard mailers for are for records. I buy those by the 25 pack on eBay, and those are really great for records because I do have some records for sale, not a ton, but some on eBay and a few on Amazon. And so those are perfect. They're 13 by 13. They have different sizes, so thickness. You can make them really lay pretty flat, or you can have it thicker. Also, they're great for bigger books. I've actually mailed out individual books, larger books that fit in there as well, as long as they're not longer than 13 inches or too thick. Otherwise, then I just have to find a box for them, a different box. But yeah, that's how I would ship CDs individually. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Brian brings up a good point that sometimes, yeah, they could crack. Also, I'll just take what I do is I'll just take here. I'll just take the bubble mailer here, or the bubble wrap rather, and I'll just ooh, I'll just cut out a piece like this, and I'll just fold it over. So I'll just fold it over the CD, and then slide that into the mailer, just for added protection. It's just a quick little snip there, fold it over, and so it has double the padding than if I just put it in there by itself. I don't know if it makes a difference, honestly, but I haven't had any complaints about people saying that their item arrived broken. You know how USPS is, right? Or how post office is. They will break your stuff. So pad it as much as makes sense for you. Don't go too crazy. Sometimes I used to wrap them up way too much, and that was too time consuming, mostly. And I was using more bubble wrap than made sense. But I would protect them. Oh wow! So Keith is in Ireland. Cool. Hello from Ireland. I'm very lucky. There's not a lot of resellers here in Ireland, so lots to get, and literally no booksellers. Yeah, wow. I don't know what that's like, but never been to Ireland. But that's good for you that there's no booksellers. Just to relate that, I find that in the area that I live in, I'm in Southern California. If people don't know, if there's new people on here that do not know that, I'm in Southern California, about 40 or so miles east of downtown LA. So I'm not actually in LA, but close. But far enough away to where I'm away from, because in LA there's definitely a lot of book resellers, a lot of people, a lot of book resellers. So I'm not in the middle of that. I'm further away in what's referred to as, technically I'm in LA County, the very last city in LA County, but I'm in what's called Inland Empire. So this area is growing a lot. A lot of people come out here to live, and then they drive into LA or other places. But this area is growing a lot right now, and so even though there are booksellers out here, I've seen them and met some. I don't really have too much competition out here yet. Not even going into thrift stores and that type of thing. Just don't see very many. Keith says libraries give the books away. Okay, well, that's good. Um, yeah. Yeah, Brian's talking about making a template. It's pretty simple. Well, so all you need to do is, when you create a listing for a book, once it's over, and that little screen pops up. Here, I'll show you. Share the screen. See right here? Look at the bottom. Assign. Oh no, sorry. Save as template. So you can just save it as a template right there. And once you hit that, it'll give you the option to just you can name it. You can say like vintage book template, or single CD listing, or VHS tape, or whatever, because you can have them really specific, right? You could have vintage book, you could have hardcover book, you could have trade paperback, you could have single CD listing, you could have CD lot template, DVD lot template, book lot template. That you can have it for all different kinds, and whatever the differences are. So the way that the title is set up would be different. So lot of 10, used fiction books, whatever, right? And so that'll have you'll have the general title, and then the condition. It might change, but for most of mine it's good, but it could change a little bit. Then the condition notes should be the same. Hardcover book with dust jacket, shows general wear, no highlighting or underlining, whatever. And then you can have for the book lot, books in general good condition, whatever, whatever the condition note you feel is appropriate. And then of course the pictures are going to be different. And then you're going to have, if you want to get detailed with all the specifics, so if you want to put the author, if you want to put the title of the book, that type of stuff, then you have to do that for each one. And then you have the actual description. So I just have what the item's called, right? Lot of 10 Stephen King hardcover fiction books, whatever, are up for sale. And then the condition, I will put the condition notes in the description, and then below that I'll say something like, please take a look at the photos for a closer look. Thank you. And then below that you just have the price, and you have the what do you call it? The weight, or whether you're offering free shipping or you're charging shipping. So a lot of times those will be similar too, though. If you're going to go free shipping all the way, then just leave it free shipping. And it doesn't matter what the weight is, but if you're charging shipping, but if it's a hardcover, unless it's a giant hardcover versus a smaller one, the weight is probably going to be similar. And then, there you go. So anyway, I recommend doing templates. It can make things go a lot faster, especially if you have like 20, like I said, like 20 books to list, or 20 CDs or 20 DVDs or whatever it is. Like for instance, I just listed a bunch of VHS tapes last night. And also I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 5. So I had 5 DVDs. These are all like older DVDs that I got for free as a part of a donation. So what I did was 3 of them are open. They're used, right? So I listed those first with the same template. I just had to change the basic information, but it still went pretty fast. And then I switched them over to new. So I don't have to put anything in the condition notes. I just say brand new, and I just say item is new and still sealed, in the description box. And I was able to go through those pretty quick. Yeah. So anyway, Terry, have you ever sold used board games, puzzles? No, I have not. The reason why I didn't get into that is just because I didn't want to hassle with. I would find, if I would find a used board game, I wouldn't know if it was missing pieces or not, and I wasn't willing to do the research to find out. It just seemed like it was too detailed, and like I've said about everything else, there's learning curves. So if you want to put in the time and effort to learn, you definitely should do it. But I've never done puzzles. It just seems like too much of a headache to try to figure out if all the items are there, and then if all the pieces are not there, I've heard people say, "Oh, then you can just try to buy them on this place, eBay, or this other place." And I mean, for me, it just seemed too much, so I haven't tried that. Board game. That's where David. Yeah. Inland Empire. Yeah, David Lynch made a movie. Yeah, called that. It's a valuable DVD, by the way, if you happen to find it. Okay. I don't think I've come across that one. So for me, I mean, I love diversifying. I've really enjoyed it because it's really exposed me to all different types of media. And as I got into more bulk buying, I started to realize that there's a lot more media out there to sell, and that you can make more money doing it, and you also don't leave money on the table, especially when you're doing bulk buys. If you're just cherry picking, that's different, but can have this go by the same logic, basically, of of diversification being a good thing when you're out there, where you're not getting a ton of stuff to go through and sort and deal with duds, but it helps you, to potentially walk away with more money. I've also done, because of the random stuff that I found on in bulk buys, I've also sold 8-track tapes, which, believe it or not, when you go on eBay, people are actually buying 8-track tapes. and a lot of them are being sold in lots together. There are some that are actually valuable individually, believe it or not. A lot of that is like classic rock stuff. And then another thing that I've sold very little bit of in the past, but right now I actually have 2 lots on eBay of Laserdiscs, because in that record buy that I made in March that I just finished going through recently, there were about 12 or 15 Laserdiscs mixed in there, which happens often when you buy records because they're the same size. And I'm sure when they came up with the idea of Laserdisc, they were thinking, well, people love records, maybe they'll love these big old laser discs, which did not work out, as we know that DVDs became the thing because they were much smaller. I'm assuming that's why, much smaller. But I do remember laser discs back in the day. I remember my local VHS store, video store that had VHS tapes, switched over entirely to laser disc, and then eventually, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they went out of business or if they just realized, whoops, we have to start putting out DVDs. I don't know how that went, but Laserdisc people buy as well. It's amazing what people will buy. JD, do you recommend a small wireless scanner to use when? Here we go. Put it up here. Oh, that's not good. Let me see. Do you recommend a small wireless scanner to use when outsourcing? Yes. What scanners do you recommend or use in your processing? So I use the KDC. Is it 200? I-200, I believe. Those used to be pretty inexpensive for 70, $80. And then for some reason there was a guy on eBay that would sell them for around that amount, and that's who I bought it from like 3+ years ago. I've gone through 2 of those. The one I have still works fine. Sometimes it'll go on the fritz. It happens randomly that it'll just kind of close down on me, but by and large, it works fine. Now there is a new one. See if I can find it here on Amazon. There it is. Iyoyo. This is the one here. I will show you in a second. I think this is it. Here, let me share the screen. Iyoyo, which I have not personally used. However, other resellers on the various book sites. Let me take this off here. Other resellers, whoopsie. Come on now. On the Facebook group, various Facebook groups, and I've seen some videos of it, swear by this one. It's a little bit bigger. The one that I have is tiny. It like fits right here, but this one, as you can see, is like as big as your hand. So that's one downside to this. But it is apparently works well. It's about $45. It's cheaper than the one that I have used to be. And so people say that that's a good one. Like I said, I haven't used it personally, but if I ever have issues, or if the one that I currently have does go out on me completely, I will probably try that one out. But the one I have now is definitely works well. And in general, if you're gonna be doing books, CDs, DVDs, things that have barcodes, you absolutely should be using a wireless scanner, Bluetooth scanner. You can easily pair it with your phone. I have an Android phone, so I just pop into the I go up here, and then you can't see it, but anyway, I click on the wireless here, and then it just pops up and it looks for it. You see there it says KDC. So then you just that's all you do. You just select it, and then it's connected right away. It connects immediately. There's no way I would go outsourcing or not without one. When I first started, I didn't have one, and I would just use the barcode scanner on my phone, either initially with the Amazon app, and then I think I had Profit Bandit initially, and then I got into which used to be FBA Scan or Scoutly. But by then, I believe I already had a scanner. You absolutely need one if you're going to be doing a lot of scanning. It's too slow without one. Yeah, Terry has it. There are people. It seems to be the popular go-to one because it's inexpensive. I mean, it's $47? You can buy it off Amazon. let's see. Yeah, they seem to have it. Yeah, the new one is $46.99 on Amazon. Um, yeah. So, he said, if you're by EO, make sure to get the original one. It's a laser scanner. Their newest one is an inferior image scanner. Ah, okay. Well, everyone take that into consideration. Um, I guess the newer one is an image scanner versus a laser scanner. Huh. Okay. Um, there's a tidbit. So Keith says VHS players will sell well if you can get them cheap. Yes, I've sold dozens. Yeah, probably over the years. I've sold, I don't know, maybe several dozen VHS players. I still look for them, absolutely, because there are some ones, especially the ones that do really well, are the dual VHS DVD combos. Those usually you can get $80, $100 or more, into the hundreds if they're more sought after. Um, and what I find at Goodwills, for instance, is you can find a lot of VHS players at Goodwills, at least around where I am. And usually the prices vary between, depending on which one it is, anywhere between like $10 to $20 on average. There's some other thrift stores I've been to, and sometimes they will price those items too high. So you just got to find the right thrift store. Also, great place for those is estate sales and garage sales, because they're VHS players. We're talking about VHS tapes, which a lot of people still have, because millions and millions of VHS tapes were sold throughout the 80s and 90s. So there's a lot of VCRs out there. And as things start to open back up in garage sales, and this is going to be a big garage sale, estate sale time of year, if you don't have any other sources, you should be hitting those up big time. Look for VCRs for sure. That's another way to diversify. the pain in the butt about VCRs or electronics, which is why I stopped focusing so much on them, is that I had a lot of issues with shipping them. Multiple times I had the post office or Amazon somehow destroy them or break them, even though I would pack them as best I could, as tightly as I could, with lots of bubble wrap around them, usually inside of a box with bubble wrap around it. Close that box, and then that box is inside of another box which has bubble wrap around it. And you tell me how the item ends up not working or broken or dented. I mean, how is that even possible? Someone has to be taking the box over their head and just slamming it against the wall, or kicking it, or jumping up and down on it. I mean, or it falls from 20 feet up. I don't know. So those are the downside to me with VCRs and electronics, is that happened too often for me. Maybe I'm not good at packing as I thought I was. I don't know. But yeah, VCRs, but there's still gonna be a lot of money. And this is I've even sold a merchant fulfiller on eBay. So I packed them myself. I didn't send it in FBA. Made sure it was what seemed to be as protected as possible, and shipped it myself. And like I shipped this big it was like 5 CD. No, it was some sort of like CD rotating thing that held a bunch of CDs at once. And it was perfectly good working order. I sent it out, and then the person sent it back to me, and on the side was this giant dent. And so it's hard to believe that it happened during shipping, but I guess it did. Or the person that got it just took a hammer to the side of it and then sent it back to me. I don't know. It's very strange. Yeah. So anyway, that can be a downside to shipping electronics. However, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try to resell them, because that didn't happen all the time, that things got damaged. And you can get better at packing and take pictures before, as you put the item in the box, take pictures of it, send it to the buyer and say, this is how I shipped it. This is the condition it was in the past. The electronics have been damaged during the shipment process. So I just wanted to let you know that this is how it should arrive at your house. You can do something like that. It's more time consuming, but a lot of these items can go for some good money. So for sure, maybe look into that, diversifying into electronics as well, beyond media. So for me, my recommendation, kind of slowly wrapping up the video here, the live stream on Flippin Live is to diversify. I think it's a good thing. Uh, if someone tells me, no, I want to stick just to books, or no, I want to stick just to records because that's what I love, or that's what I know, or I want to learn more about it and get even better at it, then I would say go for it. If you're doing well, if you're comfortable, there's no reason to diversify. Don't diversify. But if you feel like you're missing out, if you're tired of going to whatever source it is and then only finding so many books and going, that's not enough, 4 years ago, you could find a lot more books before the fees went up on Amazon. If you're sticking to Amazon, and you can find half the amount of books now. Back in 2016, 2017, 2015, you could find books that you could sell for $4 to $5 profit, small paperbacks. You could sell them for like $10, $9.99, $10.99, and make $4 or $5 profit. And now those books, you're going to make $1 to $2 profit. And those books can no longer be sent in FBA unless you're okay making $1 or $2 if they're really fast movers. But you lose half your profit on those. And I used to send a lot of those in because they were faster sellers. So I could get that nice $4 or $5 profit off of a book I spent 50 cents to $1 on, and it would sell pretty quickly. And nowadays you can't. So anyway, so that's a reason why you might walk into a place and only walk out with 12 books and say, man, I need to find more items, so I'm going to start diversifying. So now, now I can sell CDs on Amazon, or if you can't, diversify into eBay, whatever it is, your situation is, records, right? VHS tapes, you're not going to find very many, but that's something that could be worth looking into, DVDs, etc. So I think it's a good idea to diversify if you are struggling to find enough books. As an example, it could be whatever. You could be just doing records and struggling to find enough records. So now you want to get into books, or you want to get into CDs, or you want to get into whatever other type of items. And again, I'm just talking about media. Some people don't even get into media. They just sell shoes, or they just sell clothes, or I don't know, all different types of stuff you can resell. But I think there's plenty of good motivation to. All right, thanks Keith for tuning in. Thank you Keith, I really do appreciate it. That was nice of him. Yeah, so I think diversifying is a great idea. It's done really well for me. It's enabled me to sell a lot of different items, and now that I'm getting more back into books more, I'm enjoying it. I'm remembering why I really like to sell books, because they're very simple, right? They're very straightforward. Then most of them have barcodes. If they don't, you look up the ISBN. If it doesn't have an ISBN, then you have to look it up manually. But most of them have barcodes. You can scan them, look them up quickly. You just flip through them real quick. Oh, this book is in good condition. This book is not. This one I found, Lincoln. It does not. Woo! There's not a lot of profit in it, but it's a quick seller, and it's in great condition. This one is in very good condition. This was in a book donation, in a book donation that I got. And then this one, which I shared with you guys, I think a few weeks back, now that I finally got to them, the books I'm going through right now that were donated to me a couple of weeks ago, from a nice lady who had her own books, a neighbor's books, her father's books, and then those DVDs I showed you were also from her brother. So I'm going to do well off of her donation. And this one here, the neighbor was a Civil War buff, so there's a lot of Civil War books. So if a lot of those aren't worth money individually, I can probably put them into an eBay lot and see how that does. I haven't looked into it yet, but we'll see. So there's this one, which is a Civil War 3-book set by Shelby Foote, which goes like anywhere between like $40 to $60 on Amazon. So this one I will ship in. It's heavy, but I think I can list it. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's like $50 or $60 or something. Um, and so I don't know why I got into that. I guess I just wanted to share the good news. I had a point, but anyway, um, wow, I lost my train of thought. I guess I need to end the stream. But yeah, so that's from that one where there's a lot of Civil War books. What I'm doing now is I'm going through all the books as so first of all, Amazon, FBA, and Merchant Fulfilled. If it's no good there, then certain books I'll look up on eBay, and then the rest of them, I'm sorting them into genres, right? So I'm putting all the Civil War books together. I've got 4 presidential biographies together, so different war ones like World War II and historical ones, and memoirs and different ones. I'm putting them into lots, basically. So as I go through all these book donations, I'll see if I get enough together that will make sense to put a book lot together on eBay, because I can only put so many up on my bookshelves in my sale, local sale. Anyway, so that's where I am with that. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. This has been day 27 of Flippin' Live. I know Terry loves this song, so I'm going to play it especially for him, to get out of here for the day. So, well, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, so thank you guys for tuning in, for watching. It's Friday, so I hope you guys are able to get some sourcing in, or at least list, or make some sales, make some connections, whatever it is. Hope you have a good Friday. Tomorrow we'll be live again. This week we kind of had a theme going on. I think tomorrow will be a little bit more open. I might come up with a couple topics to talk about. So tomorrow, guys, again, remember, the more people that come on the stream, the better for everybody, and the more you guys participate in the chat, you come with questions. I saw that Terry had an idea. Everything about repricing and repricing software. That's something we could talk about. I don't know too much about repricing software because I don't use it, but we could talk about it for a little bit, and I'm sure others that have experience with it could talk about it. So things like that, suggestions for topics are great. I'm open to suggestions because it's hard to come up with lots of new ideas about what to talk about. And I will be going live daily for as long as most of us are quarantined. Things are starting to ease up, so probably in the near future, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the show. I don't know. Maybe we'll do like once a week after people start to get back, because I know a lot of places are reopening, and so it might go to like a weekly show kind of a thing. But for now, for this weekend, we're going to go live every morning. So tomorrow, 7 a.m. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I do come out with pre-recorded videos. I already shot one. I just need to edit that one together, like I said yesterday. I have all the footage on my computer. I just need to go into iMovie, and put it together. It's a bit of a vlog, just talking about what I've been doing lately in the warehouse. So thanks for watching, guys. Keep booking, as I always say. Keep working hard. And most importantly, during these times, stay safe, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Take care.